So there was that. There was the other factor is the prospect that we're going to have to go through massive pink slips again in March. That we're going to have have this where we've done this over and over again in the last 4 or 5 years.
You mentioned the massive pink slips. That leads me to another question. One of the issues, of course, you know, all school districts in California are in crisis with the national and state recession, and so people are looking at having to make critical cuts in different areas. And unfortunately, what's happening are there has to be an either-or approach to a certain extent in programs and salaries for teachers, or teachers only and stuff. Where do you fall on that divide? Well,
listening to Superintendent Hammond at the beginning of this year when there was a budget crisis, he pointed out that as he called it, the low-hanging fruit, the things that other school districts cut, which are the music program and the instructional programs that are and a number of those programs are now protected under Measure Q and Measure W. And he said, well, the low-hanging fruit is protected. How am I going to cut so many millions from the core programs of the district? It was a really hard problem for him. They made cuts. And then the Davis Schools Foundation came in, and most of those cuts were met by the generosity of the community. But as a long-term solution, that's insufficient. And if we really would be in a situation, because those Measure Q and Measure W don't expire until 2012, if we don't pass a supplementary tax measure, we're going to hollow out the school district completely. So I'm often asked, as a member of the advisory committees and on the PTA, to list where would your priorities be in cutting. And at a certain point, we have to tell the people of the city, we've reached the point where we're not talking about, well, if we were running an airplane, if we had an airline, well, should we put less gas in the plane? Should we stop rotating the tire, putting new tires on? Should we stop? Maybe we should cut maintenance. Maybe we don't have to have as many emergency equipment on each plane. I mean, all of a sudden, we'll be at this position very soon where we're cutting things that are absolutely essential to a well-running school district. And if you were flying an airplane, you'd say, you know, at a certain point, you can't fly this. You can't say, no, we're going to defer maintenance on the engines. You're not going to say that, no, we'll only put enough gas so that we can land on an empty tank. You can't do it that way. You either run a school system so that it does what it's supposed to do, or you go to the community and say, you know, this school system's not going to be the same system that we have. And then you end up in a death spiral where as the school collapses around you, people will just leave, either to private schools, homeschooling, or find alternative sources of education. So it really is. It's every year there's been this push to say, well, where can we cut? And there is no place to cut at this point, unless you want to get rid of the programs that really make our school district different and have maintained its high level of performance. And I don't think we want to go there. We can't go there.